Dragon Ball. Whether you love it or hate it, it's undeniable that it's an institution at this point. It debuted in the pages of Shonen Jump over 30 years ago, and it's not showing any signs of decreasing in popularity. With 2 feature films in the past 2 years, and the new series Dragon Ball Super currently airing on Fuji TV in Japan, there's no better time to be a fan of the franchise than right now. It's no secret that I'm a big Dragon Ball fan, and I've been meaning to do more DB and DBZ themed episodes for a while now. A request that I received from Joshua Koo on Facebook gave me further reason to finally do just that. In celebration of all the recent Dragon Ball activity going on, I'm going to take a look at one of my favorite titles based on the manga and anime, Dragon Ball Z Supersonic Warriors for the Game Boy Advance. Dragon Ball Z Supersonic Warriors was released on June 22, 2004. It was published by Atari and developed by Arc System Works. Supersonic Warriors is a 2D fighter that superbly captures the spirit of Akira Toriyama's brainchild. The roster features most of the major characters from the series and is comprised of Goku, Gohan, Piccolo, Krillin, Vegeta, Trunks, Ginyu, Frieza, Dr. Gero, Android 18, Cell, Boo, and Gotenks. They're all represented accurately, with some of them having multiple forms, such as the regular and Super Saiyan forms for Goku, Vegeta, Gohan, and Trunks, as well as the multiple personalities of Boo. Fans of the Funimation dub will appreciate that the voice cast recorded lines, screams, and other sounds which are heard throughout the game. Those who grew up with Sean Schemmel as Goku, Chris Sabat as Vegeta, and Kyle Hebert as the epic narrator will feel right at home with Supersonic Warriors. As mentioned previously, the basic framework is a 2D fighter. There are the genre standard 2 health bars, and the combatants punch and kick their brains out until one of them is the victor. That's the gist of things, but there's so much more awaiting under the surface. Unlike the previous GBA title that I reviewed, the action is fast-paced and super tight. The sprites look as if they were copied straight from the comic, and even as a hardcore fan of the original Japanese version, I'll admit that the dub voiceover is excellent and adds extra authenticity. The music, as far as I can tell, is an entirely new creation for this release, but it borrows elements from the sub and dub soundtracks. It has the heavier guitar-oriented approach of the Bruce Faulconer tracks, but there are a ton of allusions to Cha-La Head Cha-La, the Japanese theme song.
Fly away, fly away. 体中に広がるパノラマ。
It makes for a nice melding of sounds that I really appreciated. In comparison to other fighters, the controls are fairly basic and straightforward. A kicks and B punches, and instead of jumping, pressing up makes them fly, while tapping right or left twice makes them dash. The A attack is the more powerful of the two, and will occasionally cause the enemy to be pummeled into the ground in a spectacularly cool fashion. Hand-to-hand combat is awesome, but this wouldn't be Dragon Ball Z without Ki Blast, and Supersonic Warriors perfectly implements the trademark moves such as the Kamehameha and Spirit Bomb, aka Genki Dama, into the mix. The key meter is the percentage underneath the life bar, and it has to be over 50% before the extra powerful attacks can be performed. Performing a Ki Blast at 100% can bring up a Toriyama-style drawing, which looks incredibly cool. Hold R to charge the key meter, then press R, A, and B together to unleash the signature blasts. If the beams connect with an opponent, the amount of damage given can be massive. However, they can also dish out energy blasts in retaliation, and if they perform one while we do, the 2 beams will cancel out. Conversely, one beam can overpower another from time to time, but that happened infrequently during my capture session. Special attacks can even vary depending on where the sprites are in relation to one another. The Genki Dama can only be performed from above, whereas the Kamehameha can be fired off anywhere. It should be clear by now that this handheld tie-in is filled to the brim with content, so the player gets a lot of bang for the buck. On top of the impressive roster, there are 5 different modes: Link Versus, Free Battle, Challenge, Z-Battle, and Story. There's also an extra option for training, which helps in building the basics for combat, but it's not necessary. The Link Versus allows 2 GBAs to connect for epic matches among friends, but since I'm capturing this footage on a Game Boy player on the GameCube and I don't own a Link cable, I can't show this off. Free Battle is a single fight between 2 teams of 3, which are switched out by pressing L, and the first team to defeat all 3 characters on the opposing side wins. Challenge mode involves 3 characters, or 2 depending on how powerful they're set, phasing off against a pre-selected team based around themes from the show, such as heroes, villains, scions, etc. 1 round, winner takes all. Z-Battle isn't all that different from Free, except that it involves a series of single or team matches similar to a traditional tournament. The best feature and main reason to buy Supersonic Warriors is the story mode. Atari and Arc System Works went all out on this, and it shows. Not only are all 3 major sagas represented in truncated form, but there are individual plot lines, some of which involving fascinating what-if scenarios. Ever wanted to see Krillin save the day and not take a backseat to Goku and Vegeta? You can in Supersonic Warriors! Ever wanted to see Gohan retain his badass status from the Cell Saga and not become the pathetic loser of the Buu arc? That happens in Supersonic Warriors! Perhaps you want to see the villains win for once. They do in Supersonic Warriors! There are so many possibilities, and I barely scratched the surface during my capture session. Without going into too many spoilers, my favorite story arc belongs to Gotenks. It starts off with him and Buu in the hyperbolic time chamber, aka Room of Spirit and Time, and Buu creates a hole to exit through. Gotenks follows, but instead of ending up outside of the room as normal, let's just say that Gotenks and Doctor Who share something in common. On the topic of Gotenks, props to Arc System Works for retaining the limited duration of the fusion as part of the matches. It's a nice little touch. The cutscenes that make up the plot are very nicely done and well written by and large. It was interesting to take on the role of the villains and stomp these iconic heroes, seeing events from their perspective. Speaking of which, is it just me, or is that ominous bad guy theme super creepy? Man, is that unnerving. On the more positive side of the emotional spectrum, there's an after-credits scene in Gohan's story that genuinely touched me as a Dragon Ball fan. That and other moments I encountered during my playthrough show how much love and respect the writers have for the source material. Bravo Atari and Arc System Works on the top-notch effort. Of course, there are a few small details that irk me, such as Gohan shooting out the Kamehameha instead of the Masenko. But when my criticisms are basically just nitpicks, you know that we have a winner on our hands. Dragon Ball Z Supersonic Warriors is simple and can get slightly repetitive, but the overall package adds up to a product that screams Dragon Ball from beginning to end. Fans of the anime and manga that own a GBA must play this. It's worth seeking out for the story mode alone. Now that Supersonic Warriors has been given my seal of approval, I have an appearance in the IUPG court to attend to. Come back next week for that, but until then, this has been Cygnus Destroyer, signing out. Thanks for watching, everyone. Come back next week for an all-new Innocent Till Proven Guilty episode, but until then, you can check out these videos on the screen right now. On the upper left-hand corner, that is the Cygnus Story video on Dragon Ball Advanced Adventure and Dragon Ball GT Transformation for the Game Boy Advance. It's a good video, even though at the time I was a little too biased into the subs over the dubs. I've kind of had an anti-dub phase back then, which I've passed out of now. So yeah, but that doesn't really stop the overall enjoyment of the video. I think you guys should enjoy it, but yeah, just go into that knowing that yeah, I'm not that guy anymore. I have no problem with the dub or the sub. I like them both. Just wanted to say that. So yeah, check that out. On the upper right hand corner, that is the LJN Defender episode on the T2 Super Nintendo games, Terminator 2. I had a lot of fun doing that. My birthday episode in time for Terminator Genesis. If you want to know what I think about those games, then click that box right there on the upper right. Now in the bottom left hand corner, that is the playlist for my top 10 videos. If you haven't seen my top 10 videos, either of my 3 top 10 videos, then you should do that, and I think you'll enjoy my take on the top 10 format. And as always, for those who are new to my videos in the channel and you like what you saw, then click that red box right there and that'll subscribe you to the channel and you'll be able to keep up to date with all my content. So like I said before, come back next week for the next Innocent Till Proven Guilty, but until then, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye!